Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk Tri-State with Tiny and Katie.
Let's talk Tri-State.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Tri-State, all powered by Home Right Windows and Doors, the right choice in Waynesboro, voted Best of the Tri-State 2024. And we are here with one of our favorite guests, Bill Green, the mayor of Williamsport, which we haven't spoken since last year. How is the new year? How are things going?
The new year was great. You know, holidays went by quick. Our Christmas was a huge success, and we're moving forward now.
And you wrapped up the barn with the trees, and that was a pretty good success for
We
you
did.
guys.
That was a nice success. That was huge. We got a lot of compliments on that, so it was good.
Yeah.
You know.
And you guys extended the weekend, didn't you?
We did. We added
So
another
successful.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
It all
Well,
worked out great.
What's coming up in 2025 for the town of Williamsport?
Besides our normal infrastructure needs, we'll be moving with some country line dancing for the first Fridays up in the barn.
Go on, tell me
right,
more.
So we'll have like April, May, and June on the first Fridays of the month. We'll have country line dancing. The lady that does it, she'll come in, she teaches it, so it's for beginner and advanced. So that'll be fun. We'll have one of our local distilleries or breweries on site, you know, to help with that.
Is that a free event? Or
I
is
think
there...
it's like $10 at the door per person.
So let's go back. It's funny that you bring this up because I've been looking for a place to do country line dancing. I have zero dance skills, but I feel like country line dancing is one of those things that even if you have no rhythm, you can still get away with doing it and be successful with it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have the agility of a 4x4. So, you know, we did it last year, and I got convinced to going out and giving it a shot. And they did. They work with it, and everybody works. It was a good time.
And this is on Fridays?
It's on a Friday.
And this starts in April?
Yes.
And time, tell me the time again?
I believe they let the doors open at 5, and it's over at like 9:30.
Okay. And then you can get some drinks as you're there and
Some munchies. The Ruritan will be there on site with their food truck. So, you know, they have affordable munchies and stuff. And
I love that.
yeah, it's a good time. We did it once last year. We wanted to try it out, and we did it right in the middle of July. So in the barn in July, it was about 115 degrees.
Ooh.
You know, yeah. So it was a little warm, and we were like, but it was packed.
Yeah.
It was full. So we're, you know, after some talk, let's do it again.
And have you and I discussed how I feel like you guys should be doing more singles events?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
that might be
it might
a
work.
perfect
See,
event
You could do that.
for me to find
But
some.
you'll have to come. Yeah, because
Yes.
it should be fun. It should be a good time.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have the line dancing coming up. What else can we look forward to?
With the town, we have all our normal summer things. Hopefully the carnival, our canal days, and all of that.
Isn't it crazy that we're already talking about these things?
Yeah.
They come up so fast.
Right, and right now we're at the beginning of our elections,
Yeah.
so that takes place in March. So we're trying to get things on the books so that it continues through without any hiccups.
And one thing I did want to touch upon was that as we are going to eventually get into the summer months, you guys are looking for lifeguards.
Yes, we
Cool.
have started accepting applications for lifeguards.
Okay.
So you have to be 15 or older. You don't need certified. It helps, but you don't need it. We do our own training also. So we'll be accepting them.
And that is if somebody was thinking that sounds like the perfect summer job for me.
It's a good summer job. It really is for a lot of high school kids too. It really is a good job. Obviously the minimum wage in Maryland is over 15, so you know it pays well, and they can get up to 30 hours a week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
And then do they just go to the town of Williamsport to find an application and fill it out
just
there?
right in town hall and fill it out.
And I know that we can't go into a ton of detail, but you guys are looking into acquiring some new property.
We are. We had the opportunity, this started about 7 years ago, to purchase Springfield Manor. So Springfield, you know, the barn itself has a home, a big mansion house, a distillery and a spring house and a cottage house all down below it. That whole complex at one time was the founder's homestead.
Okay.
So Otho Holland Williams, the founder of Williamsport, lived there, grew up there, you know, moved from there. But all the property and the buildings are still there, still intact, and still in good condition. So it came about 7 years ago, the owner of the property wanted to work with the town to acquire the property. So we've been steadily working towards this end goal, and with a lot of help from the state, and we go down to Annapolis this week coming, and I have a lot of hands to shake and a lot of thank yous to give because the state did put into legislation to give us the money for this purchase.
What is the plan with the house?
It's been several plans. One of the ones that seems to get the most traction is like a colonial village for Williamsport. So it'll have artisan shops and dining and all of those things, rooms to rent. Like if you wanted to stay a weekend in Williamsport at Christmas, you could stay there, dine there, tour the town, see the celebration of trees, walk the lights. It'll be a nice little addition to the town. We already fill with the canal. We already have a nice chunk of tourism, but by adding in like a little colonial village type thing, you're just making more of a destination for the town. It'll enhance Washington County completely. What's
the square footage of this?
It's over 7 acres of land and homes. The square footage of the house, I'd have to rough estimate 3,000 to 4,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah,
so you really can expand and do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Now, could you do something with that in conjunction with the barn for weddings?
That's one of the things too, is to rent it out for the entire bridal parties and all of that. It'll be it's not going to happen overnight. I think the plan will probably be, a few years putting together, but council does have a good hold on what they're looking to do and how they'd like to see it progress over the years.
Interesting. And what's been, has it just been sitting vacant?
No, the owner did live there, and they were renting out the building. So for years, this was in private ownership. And they'd rented out this part of that section of it to different people over the years. And then she had passed away last February. So the family had gotten it and just had put it back up for sale. And that was one of the hiccups, was it went for a higher price than what we could afford.
Got it.
And then they reduced the price, and we pounced.
It kind of seems like a no-brainer that's where it should kind of go into the town of Williamsport so that you can really do something amazing with it and bring in tourists.
It does, because when we went through Annapolis talking about the property over the last 7 years, a lot of the senators are like, where your founder had lived, his home's still there, and you don't own it already? And it's like, no.
Wow.
We don't. It was offered to the town a couple different times. John Slayman, not my predecessor, but the one before, he had tried to acquire the property, and the council had refused the purchase, and then I had heard it came up to my predecessor to get it. I don't know if that's true or not, but when she approached me about it, I took it to council right away with look, here's an opportunity, here's what we could do, these are the things that can be. I'd made the statement to them, it's your imagination's the only thing that'll stop this growth. If you can't think outside the box, and all of them on there have been like, this is, especially because it doesn't cost us to acquire it. A lot of people were under the impression the buildings are falling down. It's like, no, people were living in these buildings up until November 1st of 2024.
Yeah, they're in good condition. The structure is there. You might just have to remodel maybe a bit.
Maybe, a couple little amenity touch-ups, depends on what goes in. The distillery is dated back to 1750.
Oh my goodness.
So these buildings are there the same as the spring house. So we'll see.
There's so much you could do with that. My wheels are turning too with all the things you could do.
In the beginning, there's literature on being an original American Indian campsite, gathering area. And this property has been there through the French and Indian War, which was George Ross who built it. So, he builds the middle section. When Otho gets it, he builds the end on. Then in the 1860s, they built the other section on. The whole time the tavern was there, so it's seen George Washington. It's hosted him when he was going to make Williamsport the capital, or was considering it as one of the locations. So it has a history to it that goes, I told somebody the best part of the history was Eli Williams, Otho's son, held parties there. And would invite the town council and all of them down, to party. But Betsy Bonaparte was one of his guests on the property for a while, which I'd found neat because during the Napoleonic Wars, her husband was the Prince of France. Napoleon had called him back, and she wasn't allowed to go, and it's like they have record of her being there. A lot of people. So the history is fascinating, mind-blowing.
You are a bevy of information when it comes to Williamsport. Do you like history? Are you really?
I do, but I really love Williamsport's history because we go back to Lord Baltimore, like the distillery property is Lord Baltimore, and with his indiscretions and selling off properties and stuff, you get George Ross that's running guns for the Indian, French War, and you move up to a Revolutionary hero, Otha Holland Williams living there, to George Washington visiting, to Betsy Bonaparte being in the property, and then General Lee during the retreat from Gettysburg being on the property.
I am really looking forward to seeing what this is going to do for.
Yeah, I think it'll be huge for the county. We had a brief meeting yesterday with some county officials, and I had mentioned that with the canal and with that, and with everything Washington County has, this is just another reason to come to the area and visit and stay a little while.
Absolutely. And you were saying that potentially having places, excuse me, that you could rent out for people to stay the weekend.
Yeah,
that's huge.
I mean, that's the biggest one. And that's what I was telling somebody is we sit down there and we have a lot of like dreams, pipe dreams. And when I used to sit on the property with the previous owner, I was like, the spring house would make a great place to get a burger and a beer and sit outside and enjoy it because the view. This is like a corner, and I can see why they named it, Springfield Farm, but Otha Holland Williams called it Garden of Eden. And you can see why they did, because when you're back there sitting, you can't hear any of the schools, you can't hear any of the hustle and bustle of the town or nothing. It's peaceful, it's quiet, it's tranquil, and a lot of people don't know it's there.
Yeah.
And everybody's, I'm like, that's how it's existed till now.
Well, and so what's
Beautiful.
the next step here? You're going to Annapolis.
We're going down to say a bunch of thank yous, and hopefully we'll be closing on the property sometime here in February.
Oh, well, please keep us in the loop with all of that.
Yeah, we're hoping to get that all squared away. It's exciting for the town because we have our regular infrastructure schedules on what roads are next to get finished and all, what water valves we're doing next and water lines and your normal upkeep. But something like this, and everybody's a little afraid of that upkeep, and it's like, don't be, because it has been upkept. It's not run down. The buildings, some of the outbuildings on there, like some of the old barns, they're deteriorated, they're old, but they can be rebuilt to look, and you can house a blacksmith person in there. You can take people back in time.
And you can still keep the original, what's the word I'm looking for? Like aesthetic of it, and still update it, but keep that original feel of it.
Yeah, when you're back there, you can have that. Wow. So that's the distillery. There was an old saying, like one of Williamsport's legends, is during the Civil War, they were going to bomb the town, but it was Stonewall Jackson or one of them had said, well, don't, because there'll be nowhere to get whiskey. Because the distillery produced the whiskey there. Now it won't nowadays, but doesn't mean we can't have something there similar or co-op with a distillery to make something unique to Williamsport.
Absolutely. And have like a keyword, a secret word, and if you know the secret word, then you can come in and have
a tasting or something. Yeah, there's so much we could do with it. I told somebody, because you have a lot of areas like that do the colonial thing, and we actually have a chance we can monopolize on that a little bit.
Awesome.
Nice little colonial village, a place for people to visit, artisans to have shops set up.
I am really looking forward to hearing more about this.
Yeah, we have to see how it progresses through. It'll be councils that make the decision on it. What happens?
Do all mayors know? I'm assuming the answer is yes, but do all mayors know the town's history as well as Williamsport's history?
All the previous mayors of Williamsport, or mayors of their own areas?
Of their own areas, mayors that you've come across.
I have no idea.
Okay.
We don't discuss it because it's never been any of the topics. I would imagine they should.
Okay, you really know what you're talking about.
They should know it. If not, they should be learning it because there's a lot more to it, and you do. And we're fortunate because we live in a historical area,
So there's interesting things to learn and to share.
And one of the things when we had moved the museum from underneath the barn to create a bridal suite, and we put it in the tenant house of the farm, one of the visions was to have the children coming from the elementary school over, part of their history thing was, here's our museum, here's our barn, this is what happened there. But adding this property in 7 years ago, it came to, they can spend a day, and you can learn, you can see the witness trees are still there. These trees have been there. The Park Service, when they came, they were like, this has seen all the history in America. And it's like, it really has.
And it's right here. I mean, it's right here in our backyard. And I think that's really, when you were talking about earlier about the property, I was thinking field trips and how the kids can really see the progression of Williamsport. And kids are very visual. They don't want to just go to
Mm-hmm.
a museum and see different artifacts. They want to really get out there and experience it and feel like they were part of it.
Yeah, and just have a day of it. And I
Yes.
told somebody, like the reenactments you could do.
Yes.
I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we have big
It's
things coming.
exciting.
It
Yeah,
is
and
very
it's
exciting.
Very exciting. And I told somebody whether I'm still mayor or not, I'll be there to see it all happen anyway.
I'm sure.
So I'm excited about it.
That's great.
This was good.
Yeah. Well, Bill, thank you so much for sharing
Absolutely.
that with us, and we will be keeping up with that, and also want to reiterate lifeguards for the summer.
Yes.
Never too early to start thinking about that summer gig. It's a great job.
It is.
It pays minimum wage. You sit up to 30 hours a week.
Yeah, and depending on the skills that the children come in with, or adults, it's even a good job. I told somebody one day for school teachers, they'd have the summer off.
Absolutely.
To come
Get a
on
little
in,
tan
right?
and-
Enjoy it, because we have an amenity of having a pool in the town, and like everything, it's just a nice touch to the town.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for spending some time with us today on Let's Talk Tri-State.
All right, thanks for having me.
Of course. We'll be right back.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.